Hello everyone, this is Bill from the Attentive Traveler. Welcome to episode number 10, Orvieto and Civita, Italy. While Tuscany is justifiably famous for its many fine hill towns, Umbria, just to the south, has some stellar offerings of its own. We just came from Assisi, and it is a must for nature lovers and Franciscan pilgrims. But if you're after views and wine and charming villages, you'll find Umbria's best in Orvieto and Civita di Bagnoregio. They're about a 30-minute drive apart, but these hill towns, one big and one small, perch high above the scenic plains. Pleasant Orvieto is best known for its colorful inside and out cathedral and its fine Orvieto Classico wine. Tiny Civita di Bagnoregio, I'll say that again, Civita di Bagnoregio is a dead city. It's effectively one big open-air museum with a smattering of accommodations and eateries perched precariously on a hill, pinnacle that you pay to enter. Taken together, Orvieto and Civita make a perfect duet for experiencing what all the hill town fuss is about. In this episode, I'll briefly connect the dots, our choices on getting from Assisi to Orvieto, as well as getting from the train station to our hotel. We'll also discuss how we got back and forth to Civita. We'll then dive into how we decided what to see, where to lay our heads, and what to eat. We'll also discuss tours and whether we chose any guides. Orvieto sits majestically on its tufo throne 1,000 feet above the valley floor. The city's stone streets are a delight to explore. With its brownstone cityscape, atmospheric covered alleys, and well-tended flower pots, Orvieto is said to be a photographer's dream. Every side street is a still life. The cathedral provides a great sightseeing experience. Detailed scenes carved into its outer columns, and a priceless chapel slathered in colorful art by Renaissance big shots Luca Signorelli and Fra Angelico. Orvieto provides the easiest introduction to Umbria, that pastoral region that all too often gets overshadowed by neighboring Tuscany. Orvieto's many excellent restaurants served up toothsome pastas, flavorful game, and pungent truffles. Now, Orvieto has three claims to fame: the cathedral, its Classico wine, and ceramics. Now, Rick Steves suggests drinking a shot of the local wine in a ceramic cup as you gaze up at the cathedral. It lets you experience all three C's at once. And though it's loaded with tourists by day, Orvieto is quiet at night. Civita di Bagnoregio is perched on a pinnacle in a Grand Canyon. At over 2,500 years old, traffic-free Civita is Italy's ultimate hill town. Civita's only connection to the town of Bagnoregio and the world is a long pedestrian bridge. In the last decade, the old, self-sufficient Civita has died. The last of its lifelong residents have passed on, and the only employment here is in serving gawking sightseers. But Civita is said to remain an amazing place to visit. So let's connect the dots. How do we get from the hotel in Assisi to our hotel in Orvieto? It's actually not too bad. We'll get an early start at around 9:20 a.m. for a 1 hour and 6 minute ride from Assisi to Tarantola. We've got about a 5-minute connection here to connect to the regional 4104 for another 44-minute ride to Orvieto. We'll then catch a cab to our hotel, which is actually about 10 to 15 minutes outside of town. And once we drop off our luggage, we plan to get back into the cab and head to Civita. After Civita, we'll head back into Orvieto to tour before heading back out to our resort for the evening. Probably the greatest use of taxis on our trip thus far. We'll put Orvieto and Civita together for the main sites to consider. There is one 3-star must-see, a couple of fine walks, and a museum to catch one's attention during this busy day. Orvieto's cathedral has Italy's liveliest facade. This colorful, prickly Gothic facade, divided by 4 pillars, has been compared to a medieval altarpiece. The optical illusion interior features some fine art, including Luca Signorelli's lavishly frescoed Chapel of San Brizio. Rick Steves has a self-guided tour in his guidebook. The Modo City Museum is an ensemble of 3 different sites scattered around town. The Emilio Greco collection in Palazzo Soliano, next to the cathedral. The Cathedral Arts Collection, which is immediately behind the cathedral, and at the far end of town, the Church of Sant'Agostino. The Cathedral Art Collection shows off the city's best devotional art. It's probably the main attraction of the Modo City Museum and is probably what we'll visit. The Etruscan Museum is found in a 19th century neoclassical nobleman's palace that stands on the main square facing the cathedral. Its elegantly frescoed rooms hold an impressive Etruscan collection. Modern engineers are very impressed by St. Patrick's Well. At 175 feet deep and 45 feet wide, it was designed in the 16th century with a double helix pattern. The well was built because a pope got nervous. After Rome was sacked in 1527 by renegade troops of the Holy Roman Empire, the pope fled to Orvieto. He feared that even this little town, with no water source on top, could and would be besieged. He commissioned a well, which was started in 1527, and it was finished up 10 years later. Now, the Well of the Quarry is a complex of Etruscan-era caves and wells and tunnels that lead down to a fat, cylindrically, beautifully carved 2,500-year-old well. At Civita, we'll walk the footbridge that climbs into the city. This was built in 1966 after the original saddle between the main town and Civita eroded away, as well as being bombed in World War II. There, we'll take Rick Steves' self-guided Civita walk. Orvieto's high season, with its higher hotel prices, is roughly May to early June, and then September and October. All the hotels we have listed here are for Orvieto. Some are just outside of town, where the turismo scene, is quite active. We've chosen a place outside of town by 10 to 15 minutes called Alta Rocca Wine Resort. It is run by Emiliano and Sabrina and is said to be a fancy country resort and spa. They produce their own olive oil and wine. They rent 30 modern air-conditioned rooms and a few apartments. It is said to be very popular on weekends as a wedding location, and our arrival on a Sunday hopefully will avoid that. This place is said to have Luna di Miele, honeymoon, written all over it. So we hope to have a relaxing evening here in the middle of our 3-day, 1 night at each stretch before we hit the home stretch of our Italian adventure. I've included the Rick Steves recommended restaurants on this slide from both Orvieto and Civita. My best guess is that we'll take in the restaurant back at our resort this evening, as after 2 days of running, we may just need a quiet evening to recover. Local guides and tour companies offer plenty of walking tours that cater to a variety of interests. Rick Steves has guides that he breaks into different suggestions for a guided walk or a taxi excursion to Civita and back, as well as normal local guides. Our next stop takes us to Naples, where you'll find Italy in its extreme. Now, this will be the last of our one-night stops, and we'll be certainly looking forward to it. Well, that wraps up our 10th stop on our Italian adventure, Orvieto and Civita. We've reached day 17 of our adventure, and I hope you have enjoyed this and have found this informative. If you are like me and planning a trip is almost as much fun as going on it, then be sure to tune in for all of our episodes. And so until next time, when we travel to Naples for a day of chaos, be well and take care.